But this isn't the first time Democratic lawmakers in the Lone Star State have left in protest of their Republican opposition in the State House. In 2021, they fled to Washington, D.C. to deny Republicans the quorum needed to pass restrictive new laws on voting. Among those Democrats who helped in organizing the walkout was a young first-term Democratic state representative named Jasmine Crockett. The civil rights lawyer went on to win a seat in Congress and has been one of the most prominent national voices against the GOP's redistricting efforts. And joining us now is the lady herself, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us. And so you're a veteran of this 2021 effort that definitely, it shaped a lot of headlines, but at the end of the day, the national conversation was stoked about voting rights legislation, but nothing happened nationally. What's different at this moment?
Yeah, so thank you for talking about what happened in 2021. I was listening in as you were talking to the Rev, and you mentioned the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, as well as we were fighting to get the Freedom to Vote Act passed. Ultimately, obviously, this was the decision that came down to whether or not Congress was going to do so. But at the end of the day, the story that most people don't talk about is the fact that this terrible voter suppression bill actually got a little better. Did it get good? Absolutely not. But they absolutely wanted to take away souls to the polls. There was a benefit to shining a light on what it was that they were trying to do in the dark in Texas. So unfortunately, we've seen our numbers fall now that they have these voter restrictions in place. But I do think it's important for us to have the conversation around the fact that this is bigger than Texas. This isn't just about the 5 seats in Texas. This is about a power grab. It is about basically setting the tone for what Donald Trump will try to do throughout this country so that he can suppress the voices of black and brown folk just so that he can stay in power.
Black people don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of post-slavery laws where they prove their right to vote.
They'd make the case that being black in America means we can't obtain a government ID to vote. And that's not only a ridiculous assertion, it's demeaning and it's insulting.
It's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where black people had to prove their right to vote. And oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Sitting with me today is my global entry card, my military ID card, my Texas driver's license, my Texas license to carry, because that's how we roll in Texas, my congressional card, and of course, the good old-fashioned American passport. What sorcery is this? What am I, the Black Houdini? How was I able to pull off the impossible and attain not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6 government-issue IDs? Personal responsibility in this country. I fought for this country as an Apache helicopter pilot to protect free and fair elections, and having a government-issued ID isn't racist, it's American.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah.
I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Congresswoman Danny Savales, you organized a walkout yourself in 2021. Are you concerned that repeated walkouts could backfire politically, painting Democrats as obstructionists rather than standing up for voting rights?
Absolutely not. Unfortunately, as you also heard from the Rev, there are so many people that feel like the Democrats have not been fighting hard enough. Well, I am here to tell you, as you've already stated, I have been a loud voice of opposition.
We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution, or you look at the laws that have been passed into law and say, never mind, we'll just ignore that. Instead, we are going to be in your face, we are going to be on your asses, and we are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like. It used to be a time in this country that we as members of Congress or elected officials thought that it was okay to just tell the truth. Instead, we're pushing conspiracy theories, and some of them are killing people. It's the same thing that we have coming out of Doge. It's the reason that people are dying. It's the reason that farmers are losing their farms, because we continue to peddle conspiracy theories. It is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter. Yo, this is literally potentially putting us into an international crisis. We may be heading towards the next world war because we have a president that wants to pal around with Putin and wants to do everything to make him feel good, including lying about who invaded who. When it came down to the war in Ukraine, that it was not Ukraine that invaded Russia, it was the other way around. Is there anybody in here that has enough courage to say that Russia invaded Ukraine?
You can have my time.
And this is yet the problem.
I think every member on your side of the aisle agrees with the obvious fact that Vladimir Putin ordered the filthy, bloody, imperialistic invasion of Ukraine. And in fact, at the time, Donald Trump as president never denied it. In fact, he praised it. He said it was, quote, an act of genius.
Oh, how noble and sacrificial of her. Which is the real Jasmine Crockett, though? Well, the call for public service came and Jasmine answered.
You have fundraised off of merchandise around this, and you've gotten some pushback from people saying, you know, are we just lowering the institution if we're both kind of playing into this? How do you respond to that?
Kind of like the audience just did. Listen, here's the deal. There are people such as Trump that want to peddle Bibles, peddle gym shoes, peddle whatever it is, in anything that he can sell, he's going to sell it. And he's not doing it for his party. He's doing it for self. So what she meant for evil, in my opinion, God meant for good. And so that's what I was going to do in that moment. When I set out to do the trademark, that is not personally done. It's done under the campaign. It was because there was a demand. I'm a business major who also is a lawyer. So the two things came together, right? Yeah. So this is about making sure that we can raise the monies. It's so that I can help save our democracy. My money goes to frontliners, people that are in fights to make sure that we can take the House. We've seen that the House has been run like a circus. We need Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. And so if they lose the House, I'm just go ahead and blame it on Marjorie.
Recently, I made the decision that for now, I don't want to go back in the system. I think it's broken.
But back to that Atlantic profile, they saw something else in Crockett, a raging narcissism. And for a woman who claims to be so tough, she has exceedingly thin skin. They described her as highly conscious of her self-presentation. Crockett wore acrylic nails painted with the word resist and a set of heavy lashes over her brown eyes. The lock screen on her phone is a headshot of herself. And Crockett apparently thinks she should be able to control to whom a journalist speaks when they're actually reporting a profile. 4 days before this story was published, Crockett called me to express frustration that I had reached out to so many House members without telling her first. She told me, shutting down the profile and revoking all permissions. Yeah. And yet another gem that speaks to Crockett's highly racialized view of the world from the same profile. Crockett said that Hispanic Trump supporters had almost like a slave mentality. I asked Crockett whether she had ever regrets about her public comments. She raised her eyebrows and replied, I don't second guess. You know how that ends.
I don't think that it's an accident that Donald Trump picked up the phone, called down to Texas, told Abbott what he was going to do, and like a small, ridiculous child, he just fell in order. I don't think any of that was an accident.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
I don't know how the Democrats came to appoint Jasmine Crockett as the unquestioned leader of your party, but thank God. And I think what she should do is go on TV twice as much as she is right now, maybe 3 times as much. Because every time she appears and makes one of these mistakes, says something radical, it only further divides her party from the rest of the other 80% of America who can't stand this. But the problem is there's an audience for it. I heard Jimmy Kimmel's audience cheering on Tesla vandalism. I hear the Daily Show audience cheering on attacks on Elon Musk. I hear the human rights audience cheering on an attack on a man in a wheelchair. And I realize this is what the left has become. An angry mob of people who are cheering on attacks on a guy in a wheelchair and vandalism against people who bought a Tesla. It's pathetic.
There's nothing more embarrassing than being a liberal there's nothing more embarrassing than being a liberal. You could be Jasmine Crockett. Well, she is a liberal. I stand by my point.
No lesson could ever be learned as long as you're doing these things in front of audiences who roar when you do it. When you have comedians who are broad messengers for the left making unfair jokes and people are roaring, when you have politicians being vulgar and saying what's the lesson? What's the audience? It says a lot about the audience.
But what I can tell you is that we will not be an accident. We, the people of Texas, will be very intentional about making sure that they hear us, about making sure that we call them out for what they're doing. This is racist, what they are doing. Let me hear you. That are coming up with policies that will help all people, no matter what their ethnic background. They have decided, never mind, we want to dilute the voices of black and brown. Well, I got news for you. In this state, the majority is black, brown, and Asian. We will not sit idly by while a wannabe dictator decides that he's going to silence us.
Well, bless her heart. Now, she may be a...
Well, folks, I don't know about you, but I have a newfound appreciation for conservatives, Republicans, patriots, and MAGA, the GOP, and everyone on the right. I can't think back on one time where I remember President Donald Trump ever yelling at me, scolding me like I'm a little child that needs to be told what to do and what to think and how to feel. I can't think of a single instance when Vice President, future President J.D. Vance ever took to a podium already wired up for sound with a microphone and then decided to holler at the top of his lungs to try and get his point across. I feel as though that it's extremely unnecessary. I know that there are even some YouTube channels that feel like they need to yell at you in order to make a video or to deliver information, but I don't think that's what anybody really wants. I like just talking to you in a calm and casual environment because it dawned on me recently, I'm not really telling you anything you don't already know. I don't need to force feed propaganda and compound on rhetoric. We don't do that. We live by the truth, and that truth shall set you free. A phrase or quote comes to mind, and it's speak softly and carry a big stick. Do any of you know who said that and takes credit for that very simple, very effective foreign policy strategy? Let me know in the comments. And while you're at it, typing away in the comments section, also let me know what you think about the latest surrounding the American Eagle Sydney Sweeney Good Genes drama and the model herself coming out as a registered Republican as liberals all bent out of shape now. But they just don't get it. And it's so simple. One little word has turned their entire woke world upside down. And all this over a simple 4 or 5 letter word and a Caucasian blonde with big eyes exercising her constitutional rights. You know, you'd think with Jasmine Crockett touting her double major in business and law that she of all people on the left would get it.
Breaking news, guys. This one is great. Sydney Sweeney, you did it. American Eagle just announced that they have sold completely out of their Good Genes jeans. I'll say it again. American Eagle has sold out of their jeans, and we can thank Sydney Sweeney for that. her amazing ad, doing absolutely nothing wrong, getting bashed by everyone in the world right now because of her looks that she was born with, by the way. Yeah, those things don't seem to go very good for the left, because it did exactly what I knew it would do. It helped American Eagle's sales, and as of right now, if you go to get some of those jeans, you're not going to get them because they are sold out. So get in your car, go back to school shopping. If you don't have a child in school, go buy a pair and donate a pair to a kid that may need them.
An effective marketing strategy that was probably boosted by the left's hate and rage. Again, like I've said before, the Democrats are the best at helping to make sure Republicans win and Dems never return to power ever again. So keep up the great work, folks, and keep letting fools like Jasmine Crockett lead the charge, because she's about to lead every one of those liberals off the edge of a cliff if she keeps effing around. And Greg Abbott says, you're about to find out.
Well, good morning. More than 50 Texas Democrats fleeing the Lone Star State for Chicago, all to protest Republican efforts to redistrict the state ahead of the midterms. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announcing late last night that the Dems who fled could be removed, writing, quote, Democrats hatched a deliberate plan not to show up for work for the specific purpose of abdicating their duties and of their office and thwarting the chamber's business. That amounts to an abandonment or forfeiture of an elected state office.
Texas House Democrats are breaking quorum by leaving the session to prevent a vote, or so they thought. Look here and watch their blatant abuse of legislative process, and they have the gall to post about it on social media.
Everybody, Trey Martinez, Fischer in Austin, en route to Chicago. Once again, Texas Democrats fighting for democracy. We will never bend the knee to tyrants and MAGA extremists. We want to make sure that minorities will always have the opportunity to elect candidates of their choice in Congress. And hey, America, Democrats, we got to fight like Democrats. Let us push back. We will not do this alone. We will need your help. We will need your prayers. We will need your support. Join me in this fight. Follow us, join us. Let's stand for something.
Hey everyone, we just arrived here in Chicago. It is 2025. We are breaking quorum. We were summoned to go to the Capitol to vote for this most racist redistricting bill, mid-decade redistricting bill. And we are fighting back, and we're saying no to Trump, no to the GOP steal of, once again, of the government. And we will stop at nothing to protect the millions of people in Texas from this horrific administration. Trump has told people, vote for me, and you will never have to vote again. We're going to make sure the voters continue to have their rights. Thank you.
Do you remember what I said yesterday? The Democrats' inability to see beyond the moment that they are in and to even loosely consider consequences of their actions or plan more than just one step ahead. The tactic that they are attempting to deploy, which costs taxpayers money, by the way, these plane rides and airfare isn't free or cheap, and attempted delays or blocks of critical legislation, such as election integrity bills or budget measures, just won't work. We're much smarter than them.
They're here in Illinois. We're going to do everything we can to protect every single one of them and make sure that, because we know they're doing the right thing. We know that they're following the law. It's Ken Paxton who doesn't follow the law. It's the leaders of Texas who are attempting not to follow the law. They're the ones that need to be held accountable.
What conversations have you had about?
Breaking news, Texas Democrats just shut down Greg Abbott and Trump's plan to rig the next election. They just fled the state, denying Republicans the quorum that they need to gerrymander 5 new House seats and steal them. And they didn't do it alone. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritsker stepped up, offering support, shelter, and a message. We will not let Trump steal our democracy. This is bold, it's strategic, and this is how you fight back.
Well, let me be clear. We passed a map in Illinois that follows the Constitution. And that is not what Governor Abbott is trying to do in Texas.
They all sound like a bunch of clapping seals behind J.B. Pritsker. That is, if you can even see them back there around his girth.
We believe that the people of Texas deserve to have fair representation and not to have the game changed in the middle of the decade. That's right. There already is litigation about the original map that they put in place. Now they want to change it again. That no doubt will end up being litigated too. But let me be clear that they are attempting to cheat. And, you know, I think we all know Donald Trump is a cheater. Yeah. So is the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, in so many ways. And we here in Illinois believe that we're, what is 2025? We've had elections now for, the 5 years that this map has been in place. We want to continue to have those fair elections. And we're proud of the fact that Democrats do better than Republicans in those districts where they're hyper-competitive, frankly. And we won in virtually every one of those districts that was competitive.
But when you look at Jane, could they actually be kicked out, deemed to have forfeited their seats?
I mean, it's quite possible. This never ends well for the Democrats. This is another shenanigan they're trying to pull. And to hightail it out to Chicago, I know it's hot in Texas, but they got to get back to work.
For all the bloviating from these Texas Democrats, don't California, New York, all blue states do the exact same thing to benefit Dems when they have control of the state house?
Absolutely. They do this all the time. And we see it, as you said, in New York and California. This is Eric Holder's plan, Obama's former attorney general. They have been determined to redistrict themselves into power for quite some time. And Republicans should stand strong and not put up with this nonsense. Democrats need to do their job unless they don't want to do it anymore, and then they can lose their job.
An interesting part of all this, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, very, very vocal recently, could be vulnerable because of this redistricting. And as you might imagine, she is not happy about it. Let's listen.
I do think it's important for us to have the conversation around the fact that this is bigger than Texas. This isn't just about the 5 seats in Texas. This is about a power grab. It is about basically setting the tone for what Donald Trump will try to do throughout this country so that he can suppress the voices of black and brown folk just so that he can stay in power. We've got to do everything that we can to save this country because right now it feels like we're going to hell and it doesn't seem like we have a way back.
Okay, so you heard in her answer, she's making this about race, yet 4 of the 5 new districts that would be created by this Texas Republican plan literally are majority Hispanic. That according to the author of the bill pushing these maps. Your thoughts, Jane?
Well, of course they're going to push the race card. This is really not about race. It's about making districts that are fair. We've seen that the Democrats have abused the system in other states. Republicans should stand strong. Districts are redrawn all the time because of population changes. I'm sure that Jasmine Crockett is worried about her job, but I'm sure she'll find another one.
Yeah. I hear McDonald's is hiring. Jasmine could apply there and follow in leadership's footsteps. That is President Trump, of course, because as we all know, Kamala Harris never actually worked there. So why would anyone lie about working at McDonald's? But historically, such maneuvers, like the 2003 redistricting walkout, have been criticized as undemocratic, undermining the will of elected representatives and the voters who sent them. And this, what is happening right now in Texas and now making its way to Chicago, Illinois, could backfire on Democrats in several ways. First, it risks alienating their own base if the delay leads to governance failures like unfunded public services. Second, it gives Republicans a rallying cry, potentially boosting their turnout in future elections, especially in a state trending red. And number 3, if courts intervene or public opinion sours, Democrats could face legal challenges or a loss of credibility, making them appear obstructionists rather than solution-oriented. And in Texas's political climate, this gamble might strengthen Republican resolve to push to grow their base larger when they regain full control.
Meantime, Democrats stuck between a rock and a hard place, some leaning toward far-left leaders and others trying to recruit military veterans to run for office. Sort of a two-parter here. Do you think they can even get military veterans to run when the party has gone so far left, supporting people like Zohran Mamdani? And if they ultimately are able to be successful getting those individuals to run, do you think it will work? Will they be able to win the midterms by going veteran?
Well, look, I appreciate all the men and women who serve our country. But the problem is that the Democrats' brand is so damaged. We see their approval rating at record lows.
Particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all three. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater. CNN, 26 points underwater. Gallup, 26 points underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different. We'll ultimately end up seeing who they choose. It'll be quite the thing who ultimately gets the rose.
And the reality is, I think the American people have woken up and seen what the Democrats have been up to, and their agenda is quite frankly anti-American. They're the party that's out there championing burning the flag with rampant anti-Semitism, which Americans have rejected. The Republican Party is about the working class, the blue collar men and women, safe and secure borders. You saw what happened with the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill. This is championing America and American workers and American taxpayers. Democrats really have no cohesive message. And as I said, I appreciate the servicemen and women who want to stand up, but they are in the wrong brand.
Jane Timken.
A very accurate evaluation. We'll see how this plays out, and I'll bring you more developments as they occur. Thanks for watching, and if you or anyone you know would like to learn more about getting free Medicare help, reach out to our friends at Chapter. The numbers on the screen, and they're saving seniors on average $1,100. Chapter has a team of unbiased experts who simply want to help, and they've already saved so many people thousands. Dial 270-467-2426 and see how they can help you.